Today, we're going to be exploring a core principle that will really help accelerate your wealth journey. If you're new here, hello and welcome. I'm Sarah Edens. I'm a financial consultant and I specialize in wealth psychology and financial education. So go ahead and subscribe right now and make sure that you don't miss an upcoming video because I'm here to really help you be a success in your wealth journey. And to everyone who is currently part of our community, hello, welcome back. It's so nice to have you with us again. So here's a core principle that will really help speed up your wealth journey. Success flows to structure. Now, what do I mean by that? Success flows to structure basically means that growth, money, and opportunities naturally move toward people or systems that are organized, consistent, and ready to receive them. So here's a deeper breakdown on this. The core idea is that money and success in general needs a container. If you don't have one, it leaks right back out. Structure gives your money a place to land and multiply. Here's another way to think about it. Think about it like plumbing. If your pipes are leaky or disconnected, even a flood of water won't fill your tank. In finances, the pipes are things like your automated transfers. So if you have automatic transfers to your 401k or savings, for example, your account setups like having checking, saving, and investment accounts in the first place, having somewhere to put the money, your budget and your spending plan, because that basically helps you keep track of what your money's doing, make sure every dollar has a job and is assigned a little task so it just doesn't wander off and do something like impulse shopping by itself. And then your workflow and habits is really important to kind of what your workflow is to keep your bills paid, what's your workflow for perhaps hiring financial advisors or investment advisors as you need them, retirement planners, all of this, and your own personal habits. Do you regularly check your accounts? Do you regularly pay your bills? All of this good stuff. Well, obviously, your financial habits are far better than most people's because you're here watching a video about personal finance, and I can't tell you the number of people who would rather do anything than learn about finance, which is just crazy because we all have to eat at the end of the day, and it makes sense to be as successful as possible in your wealth journey, and it's what I'm here to do to help you be successful in yours and give you all the tools and resources and mindset hacks that you need to be successful. But so many people honestly would rather do anything else than think about money because they just feel really stressed by it, or maybe they've had bad experiences with financial advisors in the past, or they were at some point told they weren't good with money. For one reason or another, they just avoid it. And so good on you to be here educating yourself because you're taking a huge step in the right direction. And I'm so happy that you're here. And so let's take a look at what this looks like in practice and get out of the theory, right? So before success shows up, before financial success specifically, because we're talking about money here today, you create structure. So you automate your savings, you automate your investing if you haven't already. You work on religiously tracking expenses. I like to do this in Excel, and I'll link to a video here. I'll put it on screen and in the description about my specific Excel budgeting strategy that I use. It is super simple. It is not complicated whatsoever. If you have Excel, it's completely free, so there's no like apps to pay for or whatever. It's worked for me for the last 12 years to work towards financial independence, so I can highly recommend it because it is a tried and true method. Also, you want to make sure that you've got a system for everything that you're doing with your finances. You want to also be having clear goals for what you're doing with your money. And sometimes setting those goals can also be really helpful if you work with a licensed professional. So if you're trying to build money with investing, go hire an investment advisor. It's the best advice I can give you, to be honest. It's very stressful and difficult trying to learn investing yourself. You can do it. I'm kind of self-taught, but I frankly like to be self-taught. So maybe I'm a really bad example of this, but I really enjoy investing and I have taught it completely to myself. I've used a platform called eTrade. So if you are a self-taught learner and you like kind of DIYing everything, then definitely check out eTrade. This video is not sponsored by them, but I'll link to them in the description as well. They have an enormous wealth of resources if you're looking to get started with investing and want to learn the skills yourself. The dark side of being a DIY investor is that it's really easy to lose money in the beginning when you don't know what you're doing. I also say if you're a beginning investor, please don't invest money that you're not willing to lose. Do not go put your life savings in the markets. Like, just don't do it. Like, don't do it. If you're going to do that, then speak with a licensed investment advisor, but don't just go thinking you're going to figure it all out with your life savings. It's very important to only invest money you are willing to lose because of market fluctuations, and we never know what the markets are going to get up to next. So key point to keep in mind. But just having those habits, having those systems in place already sets you up for success, because then if you have a financial windfall, then once that financial abundance shows up in your life, you get a pay raise, you get a new job that's paying a lot better, you get an inheritance, like what have you, you win the lottery, whatever the case may be, you already have the systems in place. And like we said, success flows into those systems. Success flows to structure. And so you set the structure up first, and then the success has a place to flow to be able to help you out. So you can handle the growth then and handle the benefits from that because you already have the systems in place to handle money, and you don't waste that momentum or get overwhelmed. It's really important to remember that if you can't handle $1,000 now, you won't be able to handle $100,000 later. And this is not a judgment at all. It is a fact of if you're not used to handling small amounts of money now, you will not be able to have the tools, mindset, resources, and experience to responsibly handle a lot more money later. And I feel like investing kind of works that way too, and why it's always good, especially if you're a self-taught investor, start with small amounts of money that you're willing to lose. Learn how investing works, learn from other people, hire an advisor, whatever you need to do. And then gradually you can put more into the markets once you see how it works and also how the fluctuations affect your stress levels and affect your mental health and how appropriate that is for what stage in life you're at. If you're nearing retirement, you are going to need a very conservative investment strategy guided by someone who understands retirement planning, so you don't go put your life savings in the stock markets and promptly lose them, which would be just a worst case scenario. You absolutely don't want to do that. So investing is really a double-edged sword. You can make money, but you can lose money, and it really needs to be tailored to your situation, your risk tolerance, and then where you are in life right now and how much you need to grow wealth versus preserve capital. So really important to keep in mind with all that. I see one too many finance influencers on social media say, oh, invest, 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 like as if it's all created equal. And I was thinking about you guys the other day, and I was like, how do I put this for them in a way, like for non-investors? If you're already an investor, I am speaking, preaching to the choir. You are like, yes, I know what you're talking about. But for my non-investors, I was thinking about a good analogy, and I thought of a good one. So for someone to say, all investing is amazing, investing will make you so rich, it's the same as maybe somebody saying, oh, being a homeowner is so wonderful. It's such a great way to build wealth. It's such a great way to build equity. Well, you can probably build equity in a home if you buy in a good market with good school districts and you buy a house that's, nice and affordable, that you can actually afford the payments on, doesn't have anything horribly structurally wrong with it. And then if the markets continue to appreciate over time and you plan to hold that house for 40 years, probably, yes, you probably will build a lot of equity in the home. It's a traditional way that people build equity. However, if you buy a house that's in perhaps a less desirable school district, maybe it's really cheap because somebody's having a fire sale on it and you don't find out till later that it has like something really problematic like mold or termite damage, or maybe it's got a really big foundation crack that they didn't tell you about and you didn't find on the inspection. And then you might end up with a lemon that you can't even sell. So I feel like the stock market is the exact same way. You cannot say all investing is created equal and all investments are going to make you wealthy, because just like in the real estate market, you have lemons in the stock market, or you have something that started out really great and then turns into a lemon because of something completely out of your control that the company does something that tanks their stock, or their CEO says something stupid that tanks their stock, or something happens, in the geopolitical space that totally destroys their value as a company, or they go bankrupt. So it's just very nuanced. So I always like to keep those nuanced perspectives in mind, because it is all about balance here on my channel. To come back to this whole concept, though, of success flows to structure, just to wrap up, the same opportunity is going to flow very differently depending on the structure that you have in place. If you have a great structure, you have a sound budget, you already have basic money management principles, maybe you already are doing some investing, or you've hired an investment advisor, you're going to really benefit if you get a $10,000 windfall. It will really move the needle in the right direction towards your overall wealth goals, versus, let's say you get a $10,000 windfall and you've never managed money in your life, and you avoid money and it stresses you out, and so you don't even have a budget and you just kind of spend everything and everything's on the credit cards. That $10,000 won't move the needle for you meaningfully, because what happens with a lot of people is they experience something called sudden wealth syndrome, which I will put right up here for you to watch next, because it's a really fun video. It's a very popular one on this channel. It gets so many views every single month. But sudden wealth syndrome is basically what happens when you don't have a system in place, you don't have the structure in place for that success, that windfall to flow to. So I hope you enjoyed all of this. This is such a fascinating concept, isn't it? And come watch my video on sudden wealth syndrome if you want more on this, and I will see you very soon in the next one.